Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Hey, welcome to episode number 880, episode 880. We're going to talk today about how I got my start in, I guess, podcasting now. It was radio, how I got my start in AM radio 17, 18 years ago on 880 AM The Biz, which right before COVID went out of business, went all automated. And my producer said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Zoom?" I go, "What's that?" And we switched over and we started doing a podcast. So I want to thank everybody. I'm going to tell the origin story of the podcast. Thank some of the people, probably tell a couple of stories. I want to remind everybody that you can watch us live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. You can find our old episodes and this episode on all the different podcast platforms. And I want to remind everybody that thanks to our sponsor, Warren Henry Automotive, who's been with us for 15, 16 years, we've been able to bring you content and entertainment and fun ideas about business for 880 episodes. So with that, we'll start the podcast. Want to remind everybody that now this is episode 880, and people go, "Jim, how did you get into this?" Well, it was a rainy night, and 880 had just come to town. A friend of mine called and said they were going to do a radio show. Would I like to be on it? I go, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Come on down. You can be on the radio show." I said, "Okay, fine." This was during the great financial crisis. A lot of the condominiums were crashing. A lot of condo associations couldn't pay our bills. And so the person that was hosting the radio show asked me, "Jim, what do you think of the condo situation?" And I responded, "Which one of these exploding cigars do you want to talk about first?" We went to break, and the producer, George Guevara, came up to me and said, "Jim, we need to have you do a radio show." I said, "How do you do that?" And I went out and found a sponsor. My sponsor at the time was Mike Marino. We always did the Marino fourth quarter. And what did Mike Marino do? He was a real estate attorney that specialized in foreclosure defense work. Boy, that kind of marks how long we've been doing this. And so I learned from the radio show, and then I transitioned, thanks to Reagan Mendoza, into doing the podcast. Some of the people I've worked with in the past include my friend Jim Gelgowski. I can never say the name right. But anyway, so thanks to Jim, my producer for many, many years, Wanda. Thank you to Wanda. And also before Wanda, we had Mike T, of course, Regan Mendoza, who put together many of the elements that we still use today. And thank you to our guests, lots of guests. We have lots of great regular guests, Bruce Turkel, Tom Handler, Brian Gale, all great guests. And, we try to bring you content that really works for you. And what have I learned doing the podcast? Well, the first thing I learned is that I always make the podcast always about the guest and about the listener. It's never really about me. It's always all about you. We talk about that. I want to thank my friend and longtime guest, repeat guest, Bruce Turkel, for giving me that idea and helping me really feel what I'm doing is important and how to modify it. We used the podcast, helped us find Betty DiMartini, the lady that donated her kidney as a living donor to my wife. We publicized the kidney search. And when Betty went out there looking on social media, she found me talking about the kidney and interviewing people about the kidney. Most of the kidney people we interviewed about the kidney from Renewal. And that helped her realize how hard I was working, how much I love Vivian, and it really motivated her to want to give the gift of life to my wife, Vivian, who's celebrating her birthday this week of all time. So thank you to Betty DiMartini, and thank you to Vivian, my wife. It helped me identify who I really looked up to in the interview world. The person I really love is Johnny Carson, not because he was funny or he was tenured for a long period of time, but because whoever the star was on on the Tonight Show wasn't Johnny Carson. It was the guest that night. So we worked very hard to make sure that the guest is the star of the show. It's helped me to innovate. It's helped me to build bonds in the family office space and in the technology space, where I've interviewed many, many tech entrepreneurs and family office entrepreneurs, and they've taught me many, many lessons. We've interviewed lots and lots of people about the real estate market, and I've learned a lot about them. But the people that I learn the most from are the people that come up to me that are regular listeners and viewers of the podcast, and especially my friends at the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies, the Bergstrom Center, where Kelly Bergstrom gave me my first internship / job up in Chicago, working for him at JMB Real Estate in their property management group. And that's afforded me the opportunity to be a leader at the University of Florida in their real estate program. And through that, I've met many young people over the years and mentored them and helped them get jobs. Some of them are, now in their mid to late 40s, early 50s, and they become wonderful contacts to do new business with. I recently closed a mortgage with one of them on a spec investment house in Palm Beach County, and I regularly do business with other members of the real estate board that are the heads of some of my biggest clients. And so it's a really rewarding thing. The podcast has been really tremendous. It's a long time since we had our 500th episode at the Ball and Chain. What a great night that was. That was when we were still on 880 AM. So the transition between radio and podcasting, you'd go, well, what's different? Podcasting is a shorter format. On radio, we had an hour that we filled with 4 regular breaks. The podcast is only about 10 to 15 minutes of content with our break for Warren Henry. Other things that I've learned are how to be glib and quick on my feet, how to speak to virtually anybody, and how to continue to create good content, work with the tools that we work with include AI. And we're very careful. We're learning how to use AI by implementing it on the podcast and then bringing it into business. So we've gone from working in an analog AM radio station. I would bring in my CDs, and because it was we were on a radio station, we were able to play the CD music. I've got about 20 different CDs. Really don't know where to play them anymore, but that we used to use, and now we have to use generic music, or we'll get caught by the people that monitor everything. So we use a bunch of generic music that's not copyright protected. These are just little things that have changed over time. Zoom wasn't there. Now we don't really use Zoom. We use something called StreamYard. StreamYard helps us broadcast simultaneously on a whole bunch of different channels. Before, all we did was AM radio. And one of the funny stories about the AM radio was I was going to pick up some tickets for a baseball game, a Marlins game. And one of the police officers came up to me and goes, "Are you Jim Freed?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "What did I do?" They go, "We love your radio show." I go, "What are you talking about?" They used to sit in their squad cars and listen to my radio show because they were all about not being policemen and they wanted to learn more about business. That was kind of rewarding. It's one of my screensavers on my telephone is myself and the police officer right in front of the ballpark. We had a long time where we used, we called it Freed on Weed. We did a bunch of stories when marijuana was first becoming legalized here for medical use. We had a bunch of medical doctors on that were trained at Jackson and were able to prescribe medical cannabis. And I know many of our listeners and friends are all using that. Many of them use gummy bears to go to sleep now. Before that was taboo. So in just a short 15 years, that's something that's really changed in our society. So the podcast has introduced me to wonderful people. It's been a great bridge. I use it for relationship building. I hope you enjoy our podcast. And episode 880 is sort of a tribute and a love note to our old friends at 880 AM The Biz. And so thank you to all of them for helping give me the platform and launch myself to doing 880 episodes. And now we're going to thank one of the people that have been primarily involved in helping me do this all these years. And that's our good friends at Warren Henry Automotive. So take it away, Miami Podcast Studios, another great friend who's helped us do a lot of things here that have been new and fresh on the podcast. So take it away, Miami Podcast Studios. We'll be right back with a short message from Warren Henry Automotive. Oh boy, 880 episodes. Thanking 880 AM The Biz and our longtime sponsor, Warren Henry Automotive, who treats us like family. I feel like I'm the lost relative of Warren, Larry, Eric, Ismet, Gerald. We're now on the second generation of all the people at Warren Henry. Of course, Larry and Brandon. Brandon's now the F&I manager. So, I met Larry when he was the F&I manager. So we've had a really long time with Warren Henry Automotive, and they treat us kindly and like family. And something else I've learned during the radio show and the podcasting is that when people want to tell you who they are, you listen. And listen to my friends at Warren Henry Automotive. They'll tell you who they are. They're wonderful. It's a family operation. Everybody there is brought up through the ranks. They all care about you. They treat you with kindness. It's a safe, wonderful place to buy or lease your car. They give you every advantage you could possibly ask for. They give you the best price on your trade-in, your new lease, your new purchase. They give you wonderful continuing service. They make sure that you get all the discounts of service that are available to you. I have a Lincoln. They come and they have actually the Lincoln service will come out to you at 151st and Biscayne. They sell Lincolns, Land Rover, Range Rover, Jaguar. It's a great store. Down in the Keys, they sell all their great nameplates at their store. That's the flagship auto dealer of the Keys in South Dade, and in West Broward, they have their Warren Henry Automotive Land Rover, Range Rover stores. They're award-winning. So if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you reach out to my friends at Warren Henry Automotive. Remember, always the best price, always the best service. Thank you for 880 episodes. Always Warren Henry.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
So remind everybody that I'm founder Sandstone Realty Advisors. I work with family offices, institutions, high net worth investors, and developers of all kinds of real estate property. I also work with them in helping them develop and execute business plans outside of real estate all across the globe. And I want to ask you to reach out to me, text me, DM me, and now you can find anything you missed on the podcast on a replay on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, whatever you want. We're everywhere. Just Google at Jim Freed or Freed on Business or at Freed on Business, and it'll all come up. And we learn more and more every day. And so what did I learn? Going from a AM weekly radio show to a multi-channel podcast. It's really simple. I learned to treat people the right way. I learned how to communicate with people. I learned how to be transparent and open. I learned how to help them become part of my family and offer to become part of their family. And many times they do make me part of their family. My biggest clients today call me regularly and treat me like family. So what's the bottom line that I learned? That's the difference between 880 AM and podcasting. It's the immediacy of the podcasting. It's the lasting ability of the podcasting. It's the shorter format and shorter attention spans of the podcasting. Doing a long form, hour-long weekly radio show is tremendous experience, very demanding, but technology has moved along and so have we. So you have to adapt and move forward. What are the next 880 episodes going to look like? I'm not really sure. But I can tell you one thing, we'll make them entertaining. We'll make them something that you'll want to watch, even if it's in the background of your office. And we're going to make it so that you feel safe here on Freed on Business, listening to us and joining our guests. So I want to thank everybody. And boy, this is really appropriate for me this week. And that's that the person that wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. We're starting on episode 880 next week. God bless you and God bless the United States of America. Miami Podcast Studios, take it away and teach me something new.